Game in the world right now, and it's driving families absolutely crazy.
It's free.
Oh, that was a headshot. Oh, my God.
It's addictive. And it's wildly popular. Tens of millions of people are playing Fortnite, from kids to celebrities, even the rapper Drake.
Hi, Drake.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me? Yeah, she can hear you.
The objective? 100 people fight strangers to the death, live and online. A round lasts up to 20 minutes, and you can't pause it. This week, a 9-year-old made headlines for wetting herself in bed rather than leaving the game. Your kids can also chat to their opponents online. They can play on nearly any device, computers, consoles and iPhones. It's the most downloaded game in the world, and it's got parents in a frenzy trying to protect their kids and control their addiction.
Well, joining us now with advice every family needs to hear is today's psychologist, Sandy Ray, and our tech expert, Charlie Brown. Good morning.
Morning, Carl.
Morning, guys.
Hi, Georgie.
Morning to you both. Charlie, we've got Harry and
Sam.
Harry and Sam, yep, both playing Fortnite here this morning.
Yeah,
and
they're doing well too.
Look at it, they're incredibly good at it.
Engaged.
This is something that so many parents are grappling with it at the moment. So just explain for parents what they need to know about this game.
Well, this is Fortnite, and they're playing what's called Fortnite Battle Royale. Now, this is the multiplayer game where up to 100 people play together, and you can play from an iPhone or an iPad or a PC or a PlayStation or an Xbox. And when you're the reason it's so addictive is the kids are all playing against each other wherever they are, whatever device they're on. And games can go for 20 minutes or half an hour or 2 hours. There's a bit of shooting, a bit of puzzle solving, a bit of building. If you're getting it on an iPad, if you're getting it on an iPhone, it's free to download and play. So this game has just gone globally.
Why is it addictive?
Gangbusters. Because kids love a little bit of shooting. They love to build things. We know Lego's popular. They also love problem solving. And they've put it all together into a game where you've got these cartoon characters essentially running around. The kids can also join their mates in the game as well. So instead of kicking a footy at the local park, if it's raining, for example, they can join the virtual world and be talking to their mates.
But what's the aim of the game?
Well, you want to be the last man standing at the end of it.
So what's the aim of the game?
To kill all the other players in the game.
Correct. So how does that compare, Sandy, to a game of footy with your mates?
Look, there's unequivocal research about the impact of these sorts of games. There's over 130 evidence-based pieces of research that tell us that violent games like this increase aggressiveness, increase angry thoughts, increase aggressive behaviour. So we can either choose to dismiss this sort of research or take it on board as parents and say, this is what the scientific community is telling us, that this is really something that we need to be very mindful of, and we really need to guard our children's brains. We're not saying don't do it at all, but we're saying the research is very much telling us. And there's over 116 research reports telling us that it affects the structure and performance of the brain as well.
So this is not bad. So Sam and Harry are playing it this morning. This is not bad for them, is it?
Look, it's not bad for them so long as it's monitored, you know, would be my advice. No one's saying for 1 second, don't play it.
Okay, so 40 million people are playing this game now,
More
at least.
than.
So 100 million, maybe 100 million, 200 million, whatever it is, and they're going to keep playing it.
Yep.
So no matter what age they are, there are going to be kids in this country and every country around the world who aren't supervised. So what damage is it going to do?
So what they talk about and what it actually affects is the pleasure centres of the brain in the front lobe of the brain. So we really need to be mindful that this is actually impacting on our behaviour. It decreases empathy. What it's actually doing, as Charlie rightly said, its aim is to kill, hurt, maim. That's the goal.
But they're cartoon characters, they're caricatures, and we don't see blood, Sandy. So many parents are saying it's OK because we're not seeing the blood and guts.
That's a complete cop-out, and I would completely rebut that argument.
No, but kids aren't going to go out there and kill people just because they're playing this game.
No, it's a whole package. What we do know, though, is children who are exposed to it for a long period of time, unsupervised, as a cheap babysitting exercise. And I think parents really need to be careful here that, you know, we all need babysitting times. We put our children in front of the TV. But what children really want is parents to be connected to their children. So instead of saying, I'm going to babysit my child through a game, actually give them real-life opportunity to interact with parents and their friends.
How do you know how much time is enough time for your child when every child is different?
That's true, and that's a really good point. I think what we've got to have as a rule of thumb is about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, even though most kids would balk at that, but 20 to 30 minutes is the time. And I was going to just quickly say that, you know, one of the common arguments is other people, all my friends are doing it. And I have a really easy rebuttal to that. And the thing that parents need to be mindful of is saying it's not what we do in our family. It's not the rules that we have in our family.
Boy, it's hard,
and not be afraid to step up as a parent and say it's not how we run our family.
Charlie, how do we regulate it?
Download it onto your iPad, play it yourself.
You encourage parents to play it, don't
So
you?
they at least know what the content is. Because parents who are showing me concerns about it, a lot of them haven't even played the game before at all. Download it and play it. First thing you're going to see is what the content actually is that you would be exposing your child to. Second thing, you'll see the kind of things that they're saying in the message bar on the side of the screen. You'll also be able to see how you can go turn that message bar off, so kids can't see the messages from other players. And you can also see the parental controls that are built into the game so that swear words, for example, aren't going to pop up on that message bar as well. By learning a little bit about the content your kids want to consume, you will be much less concerned about it because you'll know what it actually is, not what you're fearing it is.
OK, it's a really good point. I mean, I'm looking at this game now for the first time and I just want to play it.
Course.
So you're saying go out there, play it, and learn for yourself what not to do. And that's the only way you can control. Is there any way of control, apart from pulling the device out of your kid's hand and putting it away? You know, are there any other ways of controlling?
Well, at the end of the day, you're the parent, right? So if you don't want your kids to play the game, don't let them play the game. And Sandy and I were talking before. This is where boundaries start in a family. So set the boundaries. But if you're a parent, it's okay for you not to be okay with this content.
This is the point. If this game is so bad, if this game is so addictive and it's so detrimental to the lives of our children, then why is it available? Why shouldn't it be banned?
It's cool because there's nothing wrong with the game for who it's actually intended to play it. And the reason this game has a...
Therein lies the point for who is intended to play it.
But this game, the classification of this game is not restrictive to a particular age. There is a guide to the age, which is teenagers, but it's not restricted to it because of the content in the game. So because of that, you as a parent need to step up and you need to say, you know what, I understand what my kids are consuming here and I'm either okay or I'm not okay.
And we have been flooded with emails and messages about this. Parents are absolutely tearing their hair out. And there are stories, Sandy, of kids getting up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning to get online and play with their friends. I mean, it's a big issue for a lot of parents. And
the recommended age is really 15 plus. And why is that? Because we know the cognitive format of the brain is different at 15. People can make decisions, their planning, the executive thinking skills are very different at 15. Not at 8 and 7 and 6 years of age to play these sorts of games.
So ideally, this is too
young. Ideally, this is too young. You know, and the Royal Commission to Family Violence was very clear about early intervention. We know that mothers, especially, need to train and support their young boys so that they don't grow up into aggressive, unwieldy, treat women with disrespect men.
Lacking empathy.
Lacking empathy. So, you know, we really need to take on board that early intervention and monitoring is something that parents really need to embrace.
Sam, are you going to stop playing that game? What about we go kick the footy outside?
Have you had enough?
Oh, good man. Want to go kick the footy? Harry, you want to go kick the footy?
No. There we go.
Right, thank you guys.
Great insight. Really good to talk to you both. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great topic, and keep your feedback coming in. We'll get to some more of that feedback a little bit later in the program.